with today being the last opportunity to vote early in person before Tuesday's election, we'll take a look at this afternoon's voter turnout. Plus, how Sun Prairie Schools and a local nonprofit are teaming up to help support some of the district's most vulnerable students. And we'll introduce you to the group of dancers from DeForest as they prepare to dance in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's all coming up right now. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm McKenna Alexander. We begin tonight with a look at our certified most accurate forecast with meteorologist Julian Seawright. Julian, a little bit colder out there tonight.
Yeah, it is a chilly one for us, and it's going to get even colder by the time we get into our Monday morning. So let's start off with what we're seeing as of right now. Clear skies, a couple of clouds are still lingering for some areas, but overall, we're going to be looking at a lot of open sky for us. Plenty of moon will stick around, but the temperatures, as I mentioned, are going to continue to plummet because of these clearer conditions and our winds. We are looking at temperatures to be dropping into the 30s, and as we're heading out the door tomorrow, we're going to be looking at bottoming out into around 31 degrees for us here in Madison, 34 for Janesville, and 32 degrees in Platteville. So many of us will be either below freezing or at the freezing point for us as we kick off the rest of tonight. Tomorrow, we are looking for cooler starts to our afternoon and evening hours. We're going to be looking at our high to be around 47 degrees for us here in Madison. So it's going to be much cooler than we've had over the last couple of days. But the good news is it's going to be mostly sunny. And we are starting the work week on a cool and dry trend, but that's not going to last for too much longer. We'll break down the details and the latest on the current impacts that we could see coming into next week in a few moments. Until then, back to you, McKenna.
All right, thanks, Julian. Today was the final day to vote in person absentee in Wisconsin as multiple locations opened up across Dayton County for voters to have one last chance at casting their ballots early. Our Catherine Merck shares the latest on this year's early voting turnout.
Today is the last day to vote in-person absentee here in Madison, and city officials tell me absentee voting has looked different this year.
It's definitely a little bit lower than it was in 2020, obviously. 2020, I think it was probably about 75% absentee, 25% in person. I don't anticipate that being the same this time.
Even though absentee voting might look different this election, there are still some promising numbers for turnout.
In the city of Madison, we have just a bit over 180,000 registered voters. There are about 55,000 absentee ballots that have been returned to be counted, so that's pretty good turnout so far already.
Election Day is this Tuesday. For those who didn't get to vote in person absentee, here's some reminders before you head to the polls.
The biggest piece of that is make sure you know where your polling place is. Use the My Vote Wisconsin website and the Find My Polling Place feature. Just make sure you're heading to the right spot. There's been redistricting. Some polling places have changed. Just make sure you're prepared and you know where you have to go on Election Day.
There's still time to vote. Everything you could possibly need, including where your polling place is, candidates, issues on the ballot, that's all on our website right now at channel3000.com. Reporting in Madison, I'm Catherine Merck with News 3 Now.
And with the midterms just 2 days away, Wisconsin voters are expected to carry a heavy weight this election. As our Naomi Coles explains, that has candidates making one last final push this weekend ahead of what's predicted to be a very competitive race.
The sheer blur of harsh attack ads, most capitalizing on 2 years of headlines that have left people raw and bitter.
Inflation remains well above our longer run.
Now, both parties may face a reckoning with their own voters.
With this election season, I'm not looking for a hero.
I don't feel like either have taken enough time to really listen to what it is that people are actually worried about.
I used to vote Democratic, and so this year I will be voting primarily Republican.
Or do something with. So it's really in-depth and complicated. Going out like this is kind of an act of bravery.
Claire's non-binary transition has come during a moment when their existence has been targeted for harassment by many conservatives. But even as a regular Democratic voter, they have harsh words for what they see as inaction from their own party.
They say all the things to get all the votes, but then when it comes down to actually enacting any of those policies that they put forward, they kind of hand-wring and they don't really do anything. Meanwhile, the Republicans can go and just do whatever they want.
Displeased with President Joe Biden, they'll vote, but says some in her friend circles won't.
I know some of them are just like, I'm not voting because I have to vote for Democrat, and Democrats don't do anything.
Yeah, let's go! First races that I helped out on were stuffing envelopes for Tommy Thompson and passing out literature for Bob Caston in 1986.
James Wigderson's Republican roots in Wisconsin are undisputed.
I always voted for Scott Walker. I was a big supporter of him, and I supported Ron Johnson in 2010 and 2016 as well.
But the former Right Wisconsin editor's op-ed in the Journal Sentinel last month told a news story.
And even though there's not an issue on which I agree with Governor Tony Evers or with Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, I'm planning on voting for them in this November's election.
Still a Republican at heart, his change is single issue.
You're going to see more and more data that comes out.
After 2 years where leading Republicans have questioned the integrity of elections,
on the details of
while others believe without evidence the lie that it was stolen, he believes the future of democracy is now on the ballot.
I think that Tim Michels will have the power in 2024 to decide whether or not to certify Wisconsin's elections, and that could throw not just Wisconsin into chaos, but think about that Wisconsin is a swing state for the entire country.
Positively, it's not that they're fantastically unpopular, it's just that nobody is popular.
These voters, of course, they don't speak for everyone, but trends captured in Marquette Law School polls tell an unusual story. Of all our top ballot candidates underwater in popularity, well below 50% approval.
We've lived through a pandemic, we're living with inflation, we're living in a political culture that most people find really frustrating, if not toxic.
The Journal Sentinel's former D.C. bureau chief, Craig Gilbert, has covered decades of Wisconsin elections. He can remember a time when truly undecided voters accounted for as many as 20% of the voting population.
That has gone down to like 5 or 6 or 7%.
They were never very pleasant.
It was an era when former Democratic Governor Jim Doyle would serve alongside a Republican Attorney General. A reverse from the 1990s when Doyle himself served alongside Republican Tommy Thompson as a Democratic Attorney General.
He'd get close to 60%. And then the next name, Attorney General, I'd get close to 60%. So you'd see, 20% of the people that were voting for a Republican at the top and a Democrat at the second.
We saw glimpses of that in 2018 when Tammy Baldwin won with 10 more points than Governor Evers' slim victory. But for the most part, it may be a bygone era.
So most of the country is divided just as we are. It's just our division happens to be just by sort of chances 50-50.
You were also the last one, interestingly enough, to serve as governor with a legislature that was controlled by 2 different parties.
So there was a movement in my 8 years from all Republican very overwhelmingly to first divided and then to a legislature that was Democrats in both houses, although only by 1 or 2 votes.
Historical headwinds from midterm elections nearly always go against the party in power. Republican hopes for a red wave may have a shot.
It's inflation, the economy, public safety.
Fueled by the kind of disillusionment we heard earlier among key voting bases, like younger folks and people of color.
Joe Biden is kind of pretty unpopular among younger voters, even though we think of that as kind of a Democratic-leaning demographic.
I am here to ask you to vote.
It's why getting their voters to the polls is such an emphasis as campaigns wind down. And it's why your vote in a state like Wisconsin carries so much weight.
We live in a democracy. Democracies are big, they're loud, they're not intended to be polite. They are intended to be a time when people with very strong differing opinions bring them forward, and then we have the election and we see who wins.
Ahead of the midterms, be sure to visit our elections page on channel3000.com for everything you need to know before the election. Then on Tuesday, you'll find the latest up-to-the-minute results for all the biggest races in your area. Just look for the election page at the top of our website, channel3000.com. New at 10:30, a blend of Eastern and Western music was on display this afternoon at Verona High School. The Mel Harmony Foundation hosted the Swati Thirunal Mendelssohn Festival, celebrating the works of 2 composers, Swati Thirunal and Felix Mendelssohn. While both composers have been dead for nearly 180 years, festival organizers say performances like those featured today keep the 2 composers' music alive.
We are trying to celebrate their works. We are trying to bring together diverse audiences using these 2 composers as the bridge between 2 cultures, the Eastern and Western culture.
And if you attended the concert, you may have seen a familiar face on your stage as our own Susan Simon emceed the event. Turning now to sports, another Packers game this afternoon goes down to the wire, but it ends in an all too familiar fashion with a loss. Sports anchor Jordan Reed joins us now with highlights. Jordan?
Yeah, this was a must-win game for the Packers, but they get bested by the Lions, who had only one win heading into this afternoon. So it's 5 straight losses for Green Bay, the first time since 2008. From the Packers' opening drive, it's an uphill battle. They lose Romeo Doubs to an injury, the first of many for this team. And just as they're about to score, Aaron Rodgers throws his first of 2 red zone interceptions. The Lions do find the end zone just before halftime, and they're able to complete the 2-point conversion for an 8-0 lead at the break. Well, in the second half, there is some hope for the Packers. Rodgers is going to connect with Allen Lazard, and he ends up making it a 2-point game. But the Lions tack on another score later on, and the Packers just can't recover.
We got to take a good hard look at everything we're doing, from what we're asking our guys to do, to the plays that we're putting in, to who we're putting in position to try to make those plays. Yeah, everything is got to get evaluated with a fine-tooth comb.
The Packers had several chances to blow this game out of the water, but they came up short on all of them. Now we're going to have the full breakdown of Green Bay's 5th straight loss and that brutal ending coming up in sports.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Still ahead, a group of local dancers will be displaying their talents in front of millions in just a few weeks. We'll tell you where they're going coming up next.
Did you know Tim Michaels pledged to rig future elections?
Republicans will never lose another election in Wisconsin after I'm elected governor.
He'll try to overthrow the will of the people. Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as governor?
The upcoming holidays are hectic enough without having to worry about appliances breaking down. Family-owned Brothers Maine is having a Veterans Day sale featuring kitchen and laundry deals on GE appliances. The lowest prices guaranteed. Feel like family. Brothers Maine.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
There will always be bumps in the road, but we got guts, America. We got freedom. We got power. We got future. So let's drive on and make the future we want to see together. Because your new Ford vehicle is just the start of a journey. So stop by your Ford dealer today and claim one of the thousands of new Ford trucks and SUVs on their way. We've been building this country for 119 years, but we're just getting started.
When pain says, I'm here, I say, so are they. Aleve, who do you take it for?
Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times for sexual assault and harassment. Women said they were groped and pressured to have sex with their bosses. Those who spoke out were fired. Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as governor?
Monday, we're ramping up to Election Day with everything you need to know before heading to the polls.
And Josh is in the 608 with the delicious way one church is helping get out the vote.
And will these mild conditions continue, or will we return to more typical November temperatures? Tune in Monday from 4:30 to 7.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
7 dancers from DeForest will travel to the Big Apple in just 13 days to dance in front of millions, as they'll spend Turkey Day not watching, but participating in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Each year, Spirit of America Productions brings 600 of the best high school dancers in the nation to perform in the parade. And this year, 7 of those dancers will be representing DeForest Ultimate Leap Dance Center.
I feel like it's really nerve-wracking. I feel like for all of us, it's like, this is our first time actually getting a chance to show what we do, so it's like, do good, do good, do good.
The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for me has always been a huge part of my Thanksgiving, my holiday traditions, and so taking my students there is even more special.
As for where the dancers will be positioned in the parade, well, they aren't sure yet. The girls are learning 3 different versions of the dance and will get their assignments and placement when they arrive in New York. Sun Prairie Schools have teamed up with a local nonprofit to help support students experiencing homelessness. The Sunshine Place and the school district are raising awareness of the issue by creating a banner that features 176 ribbons, a way of showing how many students in the area were impacted by homelessness last year. That banner will be posted at Meadowview Elementary facing Highway C. Meanwhile, a donation drive and awareness campaign is also underway, with school district officials asking people to donate gently used winter clothes to the Sunshine Place's clothing bank, Cards Closet. Then families in need can sign up through the school district to pick out clothes in private.
This is just a month-long event, but they can do stuff at any time to support this issue. So Sunshine Place, again, always taking volunteers, always taking donations. So we just appreciate what people can do.
People can also help those in need by volunteering at the Sunshine Place's food pantry, hosting their own donation drives at work or school, and reaching out to elected officials about these issues. This month, the Sunshine Place is looking for winter coats, hat, gloves, and boots. The Cards Closet donation box is open Monday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 1632 West Main Street in Sun Prairie. Turning now to tech news, Elon Musk's plan to sell the blue verification checkmark on Twitter was officially launched yesterday, but critics say the new verification feature may bring some unintended consequences.
It has historically been a marker of trust in that Twitter has said, we have confirmed and authenticated the identity of this person, which tends to be a politician or a news media personality, or a journalist, an academic, or someone that may be a popular voice in certain civil rights, civil liberties issues.
Now you can buy it for $8 a month.
And along with a number of other features of editing and longer form video posting. But again, to have such a dramatic shift in that marker of trust, now you can buy it in advance of, as we've been talking about, a very contentious and important election.
With that purchase, Musk is also promising half the ads and the ability to post longer videos to the platform. Twitter's also making headlines for the amount of mass layoffs handed down by Musk on Friday, but turns out Twitter isn't the only social media platform letting employees go. According to the Wall Street Journal, Facebook parent company Meta is reportedly preparing to notify employees of large-scale staff reductions. Those job cuts are expected to affect thousands of employees, with that announcement possibly coming as soon as Wednesday. Let's take a look now at your certified most accurate forecast with meteorologist Julian Seawright.
Well, starting things off with our surface map, as we're going to be dealing with some chilly conditions, not just for tonight, but by the time we're heading out the door for tomorrow as well. We had a weak cold front move its way through the upper Midwest, which is going to be really bringing our temperatures back into the freezing point for many of us. And on top of it, still some breezier conditions coming in from the north. Now, so let's take a look at temperatures for overnights. We're looking at 31 degrees is where our temperatures look to fall for us here in Madison, and around 34 degrees for Janesville and 32 over towards Platteville. Many of us are going to be in the lower 30s, close to the freezing point or below the freezing point as we kick off the rest of tonight, and that's going to be impacting us as we're heading out the door as well. So make sure that you're wearing your heavy coats and have your hats as well, because it is going to be a cold morning, and by the time we get into our afternoon, our highs are only going to be into the middle and upper 40s, so it's still going to be rather cool throughout much of southern Wisconsin as we kick off the rest of our Monday afternoon. Outside of that, we are looking for the winds to not be very strong or intense like they have been from the weekend. Instead, we are looking for plenty of clear skies. Still just some light breezes coming in from the north as we transition into our lunchtime hour. But we are looking for a bit of some developments of cloud cover as we get into our Monday evening, but it's going to be very temporary. As we head into our Monday nights, cloudy or the skies themselves will start to clear out once again for us. And heading into the overnights, we're looking for chillier conditions, but with that shift in winds, we're not going to be looking at too chilly. As we wake up for our Tuesday morning, we're going to be walking out the door a little bit more warmer or milder than we would be for our Monday morning. Temperatures will be into the middle and upper 30s, and by the time we get into our Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be seeing breezy conditions, and on top of it, we will look at temperatures into those middle 50s for us. So it's going to be an improvement from Monday, but as we transition into Tuesday nights, some developments of showers are going to look to really move their way into northern parts of Wisconsin. But as we get into the overnight for our Wednesday morning, could see a couple of showers starting to pop up relatively early for our Wednesday morning. But by the time we get into our Wednesday afternoon, we are looking for cloudy conditions to really blanket our skies. Temperatures will be more mild as we're into the lower 60s, and the rain in itself will start to clear out, at least for our Wednesday afternoon. We're looking for trace amounts of rainfall for any of this system that starts to move through as we get in from our Tuesday night into our Wednesday morning. Some areas could see a little bit more measurable, but overall, we're not looking for it to be significant impacts. But this is where our first warn is coming in. Looking into Thursday night and into our Friday morning is where we're looking for impacts of potentially having some showers that will be scattered, but then as we transition into our Friday morning, temperatures will drop significantly into the freezing point. So we could see that rain transition itself into some snow for us by the time we get into our early parts of our Friday morning. But again, it's going to be trace amounts and not really measurable, but still something to watch for as we get into our Friday and the back end of the work week. Outside of that, we are looking for temperatures to be on the up and up. We have a warm front that's going to lift as we get into our Wednesday, which is going to be bringing in 60s for Wednesday and Thursday. But as we see that cold front advance coming into our Thursday afternoon, that's where we're going to start to see the shower and storm chances start to roll in for Thursday. Transitioning into Friday morning, we could see some rain or snow as well. And then it is going to be a trend of windy, breezy, and some cold weather heading into the weekend, McKenna.
Definitely enjoy those 60s because that might be the last time for a while we see them.
Yeah, especially since we are now about to get into the thick of November. It's going to be a long winter.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Julian. Still ahead, the Packers suffer another loss. We'll learn what the next step is for this team when Jordan joins us in sports.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
If anyone told me before the season began that the Packers would be 3-6 at one point and riding a 5-game losing streak, I wouldn't have believed them, as I'm sure other people wouldn't have either. Unfortunately, that's Green Bay's reality. Nothing went their way this afternoon as they took on NFC North rival Detroit. Now, Aaron Rodgers finishes the day tying a career high with 3 interceptions, 2 of those in the red zone and on their first 2 drives of the game. And then on the injury front, Packers lose Romeo Doubs, Eric Stokes, Christian Watson, Rashawn Gary, Aaron Jones, Chris Barnes. Well, none of them return. John Runyon and David Bakhtiari get banged up, but they do return to the action. Of course, there's the final drive that will sting for a long time. With under a minute, the Packers are driving, and they go for it on 4th down. Rodgers connects with Samori Toure. Well, ball's fumbled out of bounds. Packers convert, but they miss the opportunities to capitalize. 4 incomplete passes by Rodgers. So what now? What's the mindset?
I've been counted out many times in my life, as have many of my teammates. And I hope we just dig deep and find a way. We will truly be underdogs for many games moving forward. Hopefully we can embrace that. We have 2 games at home. We got to go win those 2 games in a week, and then this thing looks a little different.
Now for Badgers in the NFL, Andrew Van Ginkel is in the right place at the right time during the Dolphins and Bears game today. Second quarter, Bears punt is blocked. He scoops and scores to extend Miami's lead. That's his 2nd career touchdown, and the Finns go on to win it. Badger Volleyball is just steamrolling the competition, currently on an 11-match win streak, sporting a 12-1 Big Ten record, fresh off a sweep of Illinois, and now they get to come home for a bit. Hosting Indiana this afternoon, Badgers swept the first meeting of the season. Well, the Hoosiers are making the Badgers work for it. Devin Robinson tries to end the rally, but Indiana keeps it alive. So Izzy Ashburn, she's going to go back to Robinson, and this time she drills it home. One of her 9 kills on the day, and leading the squad once again is Sarah Franklin. You set her up any minutes, total domination. 18 kills, helps Wisconsin win it in 4 sets, making it 12 straight wins. Final round of the Timber Tech Championship in Florida. Jerry Kelly with a picture-perfect outing. He's got a bogey-free afternoon, 1 birdie here on 14. He finishes the tournament tied for 16th and 3 under overall.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Stay with us. We have one last check of our first one forecast coming up when we return.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, save 55% on Beauty Rest Select Hybrid mattresses and receive a comforter, 2 pillows, and a 4-piece sheet set for free. And get 60 months special financing with no money down. Happening now only at Ashley.
Aren't you tired of the division and the anger? I know I sure am. Our country faces enormous challenges. I promise I'll do everything I can to help make things better, and I'll always tell you the truth. What continues to give me hope are the kind and decent people I meet all over Wisconsin. People who love America and are willing to work hard to unify and heal it. Please join us. I'm Ron Johnson. I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
As falling leaves give way to snow, Midwestern winters bring rough weather and high energy bills. Feldco's here to help with our biggest sale of the season. 50% off windows, no money down, and no interest until 2024. Winter's right around the corner, and the clock is ticking.
50% off windows ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brooks Night Guard. Now, the Brooks Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brooks Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to brooksnightguard.com and order yours today.
There will always be bumps in the road, but we got guts, America. We got freedom. We got power. We got future. So let's drive on and make the future we want to see together. Because your new Ford vehicle is just the start of a journey. So stop by your Ford dealer today and claim one of the thousands of new Ford trucks and SUVs on their way. We've been building this country for 119 years, but we're just getting started.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing. I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes, and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't be Donald Trump's puppet. And I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, take a bonus 20% off your purchase of $19.99 or more at checkout. Plus, get 60 months special financing, no minimum and no money down. Happening now only at Ashley. A new place to help kids and parents keep calm. Monday at 10.
All right, Julian, sounds like people are going to definitely need to make sure they grab that coat tomorrow morning.
That's right, but it's going to be a roller coaster of a week. Not just tomorrow do we need to be concerned about having a coat, but then you can kind of ditch it again once we get into Wednesday. So starting things off, it's going to be a chilly morning for Monday and Tuesday, but then we're going to be seeing temperatures back into the milder trend as we're looking at a warm front to roll its way in, but behind it, we do have the cold front, which is coming in for Thursday afternoon into our Friday, which is going to drop temperatures once again bringing in storm chances, even rain and snow for the morning of Friday. The Friday morning, let's be clear about that, is when we are looking for a chance of that. But outside of it, this weekend and next week, we are back to below average temperatures into, yes, close to freezing point.
Ooh, yeah, keep that coat close by. Thanks for joining us tonight. News 3 Now this morning starts at 4:30.